Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Nonprofit Diaries, where we share the stories that don't make the newsletter. I'm your host, Kimberly Bottom, and our guest for this episode has dedicated herself to serving nonprofits. First, through direct work at nonprofits as a fundraiser, executive director, and organizational development advisor. Now she expands that experience into education as an adjunct professor, curriculum designer, and a trainer. So just basically a woman who's done the work and then actively shares her learnings. I actually met Krista last year at Cause Camp in Pittsburgh. She joined our Cause Camp Coffee Club, where we got together every morning before the conference and just started the day connecting, sharing what we were learning. The minute Krista steps into the coffee shop, the electricity just kicked up a notch. She is this presence that you can feel when she's in a room because her heart is immediately visible to everyone she engages with. And the icing on the cake, as you're about to see, she has a fierce sense of fashion and style and an incredible sense of humor. Nonprofit Diaries family, please welcome Krista Berry. Krista, so pumped to have you here.
Aw, thanks for having me. Yeah, I decided to wear all of my hearts today.
I just I'm feeling the love. I love how it's you can feel her heart the minute she steps in the room, and you just manifesting this right
I know.
now.
I was like, when you said that, I was like, well, glad I wore all of them.
I know. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. We did not plan this, everyone. We did not plan this.
No, we did
So,
not.
yes,
No.
I love that. Well, thank you for being here. I am so excited to share your story. I want to set the stage for your diary entry with a caveat for our audience. So, for everyone listening, when I prep to record these podcasts, I usually know the main beats of the story that each guest plans to tell. But this time, Krista shared one sentence with me before I told her, stop, 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 stop. That's such a juicy teaser. I don't even want to know what happens next. The only thing I know is that Krista once had a donor kiss her at a gala in front of his wife. Krista, set the
I've never
stage.
told this story.
Set the stage for us. Okay, first of all, how were you involved in this gala?
Oh my gosh. I was a guest. I was running a national program at the time. And so there was a lot of interaction with different high level donors. I don't even actually think this donor was my specific donor. They weren't donating to where I was working at the time, but they were certainly an important donor in our community. Everyone knows this donor and their family. And we were stewarding them for involvement in our program for sure. So I was just a guest, really. So I am kind of like, oh my gosh, Kim, I'm like, as I'm telling this, so I've literally never told this to anyone.
This is a
So
safe space, I
I'm
promise.
having my own, but you know what? When you started this, I was like, this is actually exactly what we need is a space like this where we can kind of share these experiences because it really brings us all together. So I appreciate this space.
Yes.
But there I was just making my rounds, saying hello to everyone as a fundraiser and someone leading a program that is always, building relationships and stewarding new relationships. I had a few donors in mind that I wanted to make sure to see, and this gentleman was one of them. And I walked over, as we all do at every normal situation, and kind of went in to say hello. And he stood up and kissed me.
So you didn't even say, hi, I'm Krista yet. And it just happened.
He knew of me. We had seen each other in other spaces.
Okay.
Um, I mean, his entire table was there. This is a VIP table right in front of a large, stage. This is a maybe 700 person gala. This is
Okay.
in the evening. We're all dressed up. I honestly, I'm still processing it out loud because I've
Yeah.
told this story before.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was not intentional on his part at all. It was just a weird moment.
Okay. Gotcha. Where you go in for a hug and the other person doesn't really know what's going on. And so,
I think that's
okay. So sort of maybe a miscommunication. I have to ask the question. Tell me if I'm being crude. Where did it land? Was it a peck on the cheek? Was it a direct hit? What?
no, it was definitely
Okay.
it's almost embarrassing to say it, but it was definitely on my lips.
Okay.
It
Okay.
wasn't, it was a peck.
So
But it was
the
still
moment happens and you're
it was
well,
one of those social moments
yeah.
where sometimes I've never had this one where I've instigated. I've certainly received it, but I've had
Right.
those awkward social moments sometimes where you're like, that was weird. This was super weird because of course his wife was sitting right there. His entire table was there. All of the team that I was with, including very important people that I worked with, surrounding me and around me. Um, And I just pretended it didn't happen, honestly.
Okay, so you just kinda moved on. I wasn't sure if, like,
Yeah.
the conversation just stopped and everybody stared, like, tell me after it
No,
happened,
thank
how did you
goodness.
move forward?
I credit this to my, bachelor's degree in theater and all of the acting classes. So shout out to my alma mater for my
All
undergrad.
those
Uh,
improv
all
lessons.
those improv moments. It was super uncomfortable for me that, like, to this day, I was, like, thinking about this when I talked to you about it and we mention it. I'm like, I know I didn't make it up, but, like, you put it in, like, a place in your memory that, like, just isn't really real
Oh, you have to
because it's
compartmentalize it or
so
it's
you
yeah.
compartmentalize. That's exactly it. It's so awkward.
Oh my
And
goodness.
luckily, the people that I worked with were kind of, like, behind me. I'll never forget it, though, but I remember, like, seeing his wife, like, right here, and I just smiled, and I gave him a hug, and I had a nice conversation, and I'm like, "Great to see you. Thanks for all that you do." And I walked away, and this is my first time ever sharing that with anyone. Why am I saying this now? What's the point of sharing this now? And, like, the truth is that weird situations like this where, like, ethics are involved and or, like, behavior is involved is something that we have to think about and work on, um, and kind of approach in our work as fundraisers and doing our work all the time.
Yeah. Okay, so 2 questions for you. First question, if you had the ability to now see where this went, would you have reacted differently than you did? Would you have said something or, like, would, now Krista tell then Krista something different?
Yeah, no, it's such a good question. I've been thinking about it too. I'm older now, and I've had more experiences, and I think I'm more confident in maybe asserting and kind of saying, like, acknowledging what happened and saying
Okay.
something about it.
Yeah.
Um, at least to him in the moment, and at least acknowledging, like, something that, oops, that was a mistake.
Yeah.
I will say also that the environments that we work in and kind of thinking about where what the culture of the environment that you're working in and how supportive that is for you in these moments is also something to reflect on. And I think that's where all these years later, I think I'm more comfortable sharing and talking about it because I think, to your point, like, I love sharing knowledge for this sector. It's something that I love, and I think it's important to think through what environments you want to be working in, and are they going to be supportive of you? Are they going to have your back? Are they going to believe you? If something like this did kind of come up in a different way.
Yeah.
Maybe someone did see it, and what if that story came back to my boss, right?
Right.
What if those kind of scenarios had happened? And so I think that's the other thing is, I think in a different time now, I
Mhm.
would address it also with my boss and my supervisor because I'd want to make sure that my story was kind of upfront and that
Mhm.
there weren't any misperceptions. Perception is so key in the work that
Right.
we do, and especially in building
Yes.
relationships. So, like, the facts and the details aren't sometimes, as important as, like, what people see, and
Mhm.
managing those perceptions builds trust, but also culture.
It does. Because correct me if I'm wrong, he didn't say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry," or anything like that,
No,
right? So
no,
in that moment, even though again, it wasn't maybe a malicious intent, we have to cultivate an environment where, like, someone immediately knows, "Oh, that's not okay." Even if it was a mistake, let's just call it out and say, like, "Oh gosh, that was, awkward moment. So sorry that I put you through that." And until I think we start saying those things, it's just going to continue. I just like the other day was working with a vendor and they kept calling me honey. And I'm like, I need to I need to say something. Should I say, and I chickened out. I'm gonna admit that right here. Is that
no.
like, to keep the relationship positive and professional, I'm like, okay, fine. Like, I'll just brush off the casual misogyny in this conversation. But I feel like it is so important to stand up. But to your point, you don't want to monopolize or
No.
the outcome, right? So what
Yeah.
was the outcome with that donor? Did you end up working together?
I saw him in a few other things, but no, I
Okay.
didn't end up specifically working together. And I don't think it was because of that incident. I think it was just like project based changed. But, I go back to that, like, Krista, and I'm like, did it affect my confidence a little in those scenarios?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
100% it did.
Does
And so,
it replays in your mind,
I
right?
moved myself off of that project when that could have been an amazing,
Oh,
opportunity to steward that donor, or you know what I mean? We do those things sometimes even, like, not, like, being aware that we're doing those things to ourselves, because those scenarios can really kind of, like, shift our, whatever that is, it's comfort with ourselves. It's comfort with ourselves. Like, even if it wasn't malicious to your point or
yep.
intentional, it still did something to me,
Mhm.
right? Like, I was still at work having to experience something awkward like that, and here I am, how many years later, still like, "Should I tell anyone?"
Yeah.
And the reason that I appreciate this, that you're doing it and wanting to share is because I think what it did do, which I'm proud of, is it shifted kind of my career and being like, I really want to facilitate conversations with fundraisers and nonprofit leaders so that we as, peers in kind of shared safe spaces can have some of these difficult conversations and think through what we might do to prevent awkward scenarios. And this is not the only one. There's a lot out there, and I know I'm not alone in that. And so it's more like, how do we think through together how to take care of ourselves in these scenarios?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the whole purpose of starting this podcast was to relate, right? That's the first thing is just to somebody listen and go, "Oh my gosh, okay, I'm not the only one that, has dealt with X, Y, and Z, whatever that may be." But I really feel like it will also facilitate maybe a change, a course of actions for someone who hears this because I've started to see more and more women especially saying, I finally said something and the world didn't end. you
Right.
know? So maybe if your story will give someone the courage to go, all right, if the next time I don't feel right about something, I'm not going to just stay silent. That's powerful. And I'm really like,
Mhm.
I'm thankful for you, Krista. I'm proud of you for sharing this with us. This is not, is it a good story where we can all kind of collectively gasp and go, oh my gosh, did that really happen? Yes. But deeper than that, this is really you kind of reliving a little bit of trauma from your past for
Yeah.
the benefit of other
Mhm.
people to let them know that you don't have to go through it in the same way.
Thanks for saying that. And I think, like, I also like to be like, okay, so what else would you recommend? It's also made me think that, like, practicing being in person is actually really important. And we forget that, like, if we don't practice those skills, it can put us in more awkward social scenarios. And I say that because, we know AI and technology is here, and there's ways that, like, our life can be streamlined and made more efficient with all of these solutions. But I don't want it to stop us from, like, actually practicing human interactions.
Exactly. And it's so easy now not to practice in person,
Right.
talking on Zoom, right? Working
Yep.
from home, all of these things. But you're right, the human element of nonprofit work, particularly in fundraising, is a skill. It is a muscle that you have to work in order for it to work well. So I'm
Yeah.
just so thankful that you continue to work on it. And sometimes those things that don't seem like a big deal to other people can really change the course for the better or for the worse. I feel like it
Mhm.
changed yours for the better, and I'm so grateful for like the personality that you are now. I know every experience has shaped you, so keep showing up as you because I'm inspired by you and I'm appreciative of you sharing your experiences with us. For everybody out there that's listening that has a story to tell, again, the purpose of this podcast is to just collectively sigh together, right? Or breathe together, or laugh together, or cry together. So I want you to come and feel like you can participate and this be a safe space for you, and we can tell your story in whatever way is best for you. Keep the pieces that are very deep for you, and share the pieces that you feel like will make an impact for everyone else. So if you have any desire in doing that, there is a link in the description where you can fill out a form to be on the podcast. We'd love to have you. And this is your reminder to hydrate, to practice that self care, and to connect with each other, which is what I hope we're doing here. So, Krista, thank you for joining us. Podcast listeners, thank you for joining us. We will see you all next time.